if the state of affairs in the Golden State can be explained best, how about the current governor of California? He started a podcast
to change the conversation. And that's why I'm launching a new podcast. And this is going to be anything but the ordinary politician podcast. I'm going to be talking to people directly that I disagree with.
Oh my God.
As well as people I look up to. But more important than anything else, I'll be talking directly with you, the listener. Real conversations. What's going on with the cost of eggs? What are the impacts, real impacts to you around tariffs? What power does an executive order really have? And what's really going on inside of Doge? Look, there's an onslaught of information that we take in. So let's take it to the sources without the typical political mumbo jumbo. In the first few weeks, we're going to be sitting down with some of the biggest leaders and architects in the MAGA movement. This is Gavin Newsom.
Oh, for the love of all that is fucking holy. You know what? The first thing I want to say is the 90s called they want their politicians back. Like that's what that screams to me. And what's upsetting to me is he's actually a really good looking guy. Like he'd be remotely interesting and appealing to me if he wasn't such a fucking douche. I'm sorry. All right. That was my initial response.
I mean, why not just call it the Uniparty podcast? You know, he's like, I'm going to have on all of the people that we've enabled for the last 30 years as we've, followed the ratchet effect while we chase them to the right. And I'm going to do it, lining up for my inevitable, presidential campaign in 2028 so that I can run as the white male version of Kamala and bring a parade of the Dick Cheneys of the world, up on stage so that we can get routed again the way that we got routed last time. I mean, what do you want me to say, about Gavin Newsom? I'll tell you what I was talking about when I was in Sacramento for some protest work and anti-ICE protest, some community speaking, and also some campaign work. There's a bill in California called AB 15, which prohibits the California Department of Corrections from coordinating with ICE and essentially releasing data, information about immigration status, prisoners. And so literally turning people over to ICE. So Gavin Newsom has already sworn that if that bill reaches his desk, he'll veto it. Right? So I mean, where do you even want me to begin? I'm going to tell you this right now. Elect me governor of the state of California, and they are going to have to come through me and the entire force of the California state government in order to try to enforce their unconstitutional edicts and to create a Gestapo-style police state. That's not the Fed's job, and it's unconstitutional. It's not the role of a governor to sit there and play nice and play footsie with people that are, trying to turn, the United States into 1930s Germany. So, I mean, what can you say about this dumpster fire of a party that hasn't already been said?
Well, what I say is I don't think
he has nice hair. I mean, I'll give him that.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's a waste of good hair. But I've said it before. I do not think that we will see another Democratic president in this country. And when I say that, I mean this incarnation of this party, this Clinton-run neoliberal corporate Democratic Party will never have another president in this country. And I actually don't think we'll win any big seats other than maybe in a couple of smaller blue places, whatever. But they're national. They're done. They will not ever win another. That's just my opinion.
So I want to follow through on that, but while we're talking about good hair, I want you to see the campaign logo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we got Ware for Governor. We're leaning in on the Afro puff ponytail.
Oh, yeah.
No hiding from our heritage over here. And we got the white version. So get ready. Now, with respect to what you said, let's just be clear about this. I made two predictions on the campaign trail. The first of them was that the Democrats were going to get the brakes beaten off of them in the November election because they had lost the most. I made that prediction August 22nd or 23rd, and knew it, slept peacefully every night, knowing that those genociders were not going to get back into power.
Same.
The second prediction that I made, however, I've yet to see come true, but I have the same kind of certainty of it. The certainty is that the Democratic Party is going the way of the Whigs.
Yes.
That they, as you said, they have destroyed the coalitions that made their electoral successes possible, and those cannot be reconstituted. So an opposition party, a genuine opposition party, is going to emerge, and that's why I'm running, to try to give the people an actual oppositional alternative to this uniparty, because that party is finished. The corporate sell-off and essentially the merger of the corporate wing of the Democratic Party with the oligarchic and corporate powers that fund the Republicans. That just means the end of the party. Why would you vote for a low budget version of MAGA? Like, seriously, like, why would you do it? Why not just go for the real thing? Like,
unless you're privileged, it's a privileged group of people, and the irony is so many of them actually accused us of, well, that's so privileged that you wouldn't vote for the lesser of the two evils. And I'm like, no, your privilege is that you actually think there is a lesser of two evils. That's like, they don't see it.
Yeah, I think it's Julius Nyerere who says, of course, the United States of America is a one-party state, but in characteristic American excess, they have two of them. Right?
That's awesome.
You have two separate parties that serve the same basic function.
Yeah.
And when we were on the campaign, the Stein Ware campaign, I said at one point in time that whether you vote blue or you vote red, militarized fascism wins. And that is the reality that, like, voters are going to have to increasingly face. And I'm going to try to sharpen those contradictions for them in the state of California, because the basic case that I'm going to make is essentially two. First of all, on electability, nationwide, I think that there were 15 million people roughly that might have normally been expected to vote Democrat and could not hold their nose and do it. And many of those are never coming back. There's probably another 15 million that probably did hold their nose and vote for Trump because they don't see a difference between blue criminals and red criminals, and thought that they were voting for lower taxes because that's what the Republican brand really is. The following of red MAGA is no less white, more white supremacist in its orientation than blue MAGA is. So that's just like a set of talking points. I really don't think that the base, the MAGA, the average MAGA voter is your dyed-in-the-wool white supremacist KKK person.
No,
Trump is a full-out racist. Don't get me wrong. And the real full-out racists respond because of that. But the people that have, abandoned the Democratic Party, especially, white, quote unquote, white working class voters, have just perceived that the Democratic Party was an empty corporate, shell to begin with, that sold everything that wasn't bolted down, off to the highest bidder from the time of Clinton. So what we need is an actual People's Party to emerge. And that brings me to the last point. There were 90 million people that didn't vote at all, right? That really don't have a reason to vote. So the idea is to try to give folks a reason to vote. And the idea for the progressive movement, for the hard left movement, is that we're running a test case out here in California. If you believe that we need to build a viable third-party alternative, support this candidacy, because I'm going to go in guns blazing at the duopoly, and we're going to take California as the tip of the spear. Whatever happens in the state of California has massive effects on national policy and the national environment. Let's take single-payer healthcare, for example, which the Democrats actually got through when Schwarzenegger was governor, and they knew he would veto it. as soon as he was gone, super majorities, but somehow they can't.
Are you saying Mick resistance? Are you calling that the Mick resistance?
You know what it is. It's that good controlled opposition. It's that good controlled opposition. We're working tirelessly for a ceasefire. Send them more missiles. Talking out of both sides of their mouth. Like we used to say back home. So all I'll say about that is that we're essentially using this as a laboratory. If you want to build a national political resistance movement, everybody's talking about, we need to build third-party strength, do it now and put your money where your mouth is. And we've had a lot of people just in the first month since we launched the website do exactly that. Actually, our organizing and volunteer base has been mostly in the state of California, but our donor base has come from all over the country. People are pitching in money saying, go fight that fight in California, because we know if you can win in California, then it's going to change the electoral map entirely.